used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.
What up? Welcome back once again to the Necro Zoo. I am Bones. And in this one, let's go ahead and add one more figure to my McFarlane DC Multiverse collection. Now today we will take a look at the gold label Captain Atom. Now I'm actually really excited to take a look at this one because when I was a kid, Captain Atom was one of my favorite characters, mostly because I read a lot of Justice League Europe, and in that series he was the team leader. I actually had to go and dig up some of my old comics and reread them just to get an idea of what I really remember about Captain Atom and how he looked in the comics that I grew up reading. Now I'm not really sure what exclusive he is. I think it might be Walmart, but you can acquire him if you really go after him. And of course, as always, I did go ahead and add some little details of my own. Now he does look pretty subatomic in the packaging, but let's go ahead and take a closer look at him. But first, he does come with your standard black DC Multiverse stand. Now, of course, these are not really needed, but sometimes they do come in useful. He also comes with his data file card. On the front, you do have an image from the comics, but I think this is more of a new 52 version. So this might be the regular release, I'm not sure, because this is a gold label. So McFarlane leaves it open for a different release. But all that it would really require to get an alternate version is to have a different head sculpt, because this one is a slightly different version of the character. On the back you do have some information. Now Nathaniel Atom was in the military. He got mixed up in some sort of experiment which gave him his atomic powers. Now, really big fan of this character. There have been other releases of him by different companies in action figure form. Now, most of these I missed, but I do have the DC Universe Classics. Now, he does come with some accessories, which are going to be these sort of energy effects. Two different shapes, but they both are a sort of blue transparent plastic with a light hue on them. Pretty cool. Now let's go ahead and take a look at them. Now, first impressions. Not a big fan of the way they reused the Buck from Deadman and Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. Only because to me, in my imagination, I always imagine Captain Atom like just as big as Batman or Superman. I mean, maybe not as big, but right up there in like muscle tone. He is a military man, so that's how I always envisioned him. If you see the way he looks in the Flashpoint animated film, he's a bulky guy, just the same as Batman and Superman. So this smaller Buck for me is like for more regular sized characters and not like beefed up guys, which in my mind, Captain Atom is usually like that. Although there is other versions of him where he's just a slender, regular built guy, so that's fine. Another thing that I first get impressions of is they just cut the trunks really bad. I'm not sure why they did this, but you could see how it rises up above his abdominals, which this is the same body as Booster Gold, and on the Booster Gold figure they cut him short, so it looks actually really clean. So I'm not so sure why they went with that with this figure, but we will take care of that towards the end of the video. Now, he does have his atomic symbol on the front. The colors are sort of traditional, although the blue on his boots is a little bit more purple than I would like, and the red is a little bit more dry when it could be a little bit more brighter red. Now, usually in the comics, on the back he has his symbol as well, but they did not do that for this figure. All in all, really cool. The plastic is also another issue, which is it's not really like a chrome metallic color. It's more, has some marbling and a little bit of different swirls in it, which actually could benefit the figure because you could see it as that that's like his energy inside of him. But For me, I really like my Captain Adams to be really shiny and sort of chrome. So that's just another detail that for me, could have been a little bit shinier. Although the head sculpt does have that shiny silver paint. So let's take a look at the head sculpt. Now they did do a good job of capturing that sort of stern, heroic head sculpt. Pretty simple, just a regular head sculpt painted silver. The hair is slicked back. Now, I remember Captain Atom with like some awesome hairstyles. Like he had a sort of Dalton-esque mullet, which was really sweet. And he also had more of a military cut. And then a lot of times they just showed him with like, parted to the side haircut, which is really how I really imagine him. But that's fine. Another detail they missed is his eyes are white. And usually in the comics or whenever they show him, he has yellow eyes. So that's another little detail. Let's take a look at the articulation. Does look down really well. Looks up, no problem. Got right to left. You could tilt his head for some attitude. So all in all, really good job on the head sculpt and articulation. Let's go down and take a look at the waist articulation. You do have side to side. You have that full tilt-a-whirl at the waist. Lower waist swivel, upper chest swivel. You could twist them, get them in some pretty cool action poses. Crunch is not really there. I mean, you could try and get the upper chest down to the belt, but it does touch or get close, but I think that's basically because the trunks are cut too high. So it's easy for him to touch the upper chest to the trunks, but that's kind of cheating because the trunks are cut that way. Has a slight crunch, we'll give him that. And of course he could lean back per usual. Now let's take a look at the shoulder joint. You do have that McFarlane socket and bushing shoulder joint, which is actually really smooth. Get a lot of range of motion and articulation. You got some up and down, front to back, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, look pretty good. And not so much anything in sculpture or texture. Goes down into the gloves that are just painted on. And then you go into the hand. Now he does have those thin wrist joints. They do have to be in a certain position to actually look good. This side and the left side is a grasping hand. Not sure why they went with that. Two fists would have been perfect, but we'll fix that later on. And then you got a fist on the other side. And you do have that McFarlane hinge and swivel articulation. Get him in a T-pose pretty simply. Even get a little bit higher. You can also get his arms above his head. Now moving down, you got the emblem on the chest. It is not sculpted out, it is just painted on. And then down into those oversized trunks. Not sure why they did that. And then down into the thighs. Let's go ahead and check out the thigh swivel. Pretty generous thigh swivel. Of course, you could use that to move the boot from side to side without having a thigh cut. You could kick up pretty high and also kick back. Now, do not be afraid. The trunks actually are made of rubber and they move out of the way when you kick back, and when you put them back, they actually go back to their original form. Could cock out his knee. He has that sweet McFarlane hip swivel. Double jointed knees, straighten them out, up and down at the ankle, right to left, rocker, pretty smooth, and then toe articulation. Before we go, not much to look at the lower body. The boots, as I said before, not my preferred shade of blue. They're a little bit more purplish or like lavender sort of tone. You could always paint them, hit them with a darker blue. So all in all, pretty good. I mean, this is your basic figure. Don't really expect much from him, but he looks pretty good. Check him out from the bottom. No tread, but he does have some identifying marks. moving up the back. Nothing in the way of sculpt work, just your plain body. Moving up, go past the butt, and then up to the back. Really nice. And then you do have the cutout where you could move the arm to get a lot more movement out of that shoulder. Now, you know me, I did go ahead and make my changes. First off, let's pop off that grasping hand, and then I do have him a custom fist. Really prefer him with with two fists, just looks a lot better. Now you can add the energy effects. You got one on this side, you have the other shorter one on this fist side. Get him in some cool poses using his energy. So all in all, that's really nice. Now, I kind of want to make my own custom Captain Atom, but I'm going to use a different body, different parts. I already do have the head sculpt. Now, for some reason on the camera, this looks kind of like splotchy, but in hand, there's no problem at all. It is just all silver. I did coat it with sealer, and I did paint the eyes yellow. So this is just an alternate head. Doesn't really fit on this body. It's a little bit large, and like I said, the camera for some reason is picking it up kind of, I don't know, like it looks kind of bumpy when put in hand. It's smooth and chrome colored, so don't know what's up with that. Don't know if I'll really make my custom Captain Atom. I kind of have it planned, but I jump so much from like custom job to custom job, so we'll see. But I have the alternate head if I ever want to do that. Now, I also painted the eyes yellow on this guy. Just a little detail that I had to get correct. And then the final thing I did. Now, I didn't go with a full chrome for the whole body. I wasn't up to it. But I did do the legs and the abdomen. And then I did cut the trunks. Now, I did this by getting a string and wrapping it around and then making a mark. And then I cut the trunks using that mark to get a straight edge. Now, another thing you could do if you really wanted to is get an extra booster gold, take off the trunks, paint them silver, and there you go. But as you can see, it does make a big difference in the way the figure looks. Now, you could still move them around and articulate them at the waist. Slight gappage, but it's just as much gappage as you get in the booster gold figure, so it's not, a big deal. And I just do not know why they cut him like that, with like those, trunks pulled up all the way to his chest. I'm not sure. But if you want to try, you can cut him as I did. Now, there is one more thing I got to warn you, and that is when you cut them in the front and you put them back on, they're actually also too wide. So they're kind of have a lot of excess. So I had to do the trick again where I split them down the side, but not completely, and then glue them back together just to tighten it up to make it look a little bit more snug and a more form-fitting, trunks instead of all loose. I'm happy with it. He looks good. Kind of a little bit more fun to pose now that I've done my little details on him. Looks a lot better to me for my preference. Now, I do actually own the DC Universe Classics Captain Atom. And as you can see, he's like straight up silver chrome. Like he's not necessarily mirror finish, but he's really high shiny silver. But him as well, they did not put the symbol on the back. So now I don't feel so bad. And also now they actually got the boots a lot closer with the blue that they used. But their gloves are actually lighter toned than the Multiverse release. So I'm happy with them. That's a good comparison. So you could see the DC Universe Classics compared to the new version. Now I also have the Kingdom Come version of Captain Atom from DC Classics. Now I actually remember finding this guy at Target. Now, not too sure about the version of this. I think it's from Kingdom Come. And I think Armageddon is another version of Captain Atom in these colors or with these powers. But pretty crazy that I hunted at Target for these figures, and now I hunt at Target for the DC Multiverse. But anyways, guys, I'm pretty happy with him. He's going into the collection. Maybe down the line I'll pick up another one to keep in his original form. But you guys keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.